Okay, today we're going to go over the iPhone 7 mod. This is the iPhone 7 that comes without a speaker and cannot record on the memo. In the video, we will make sure and locate the problem is, and then after we had to disassemble everything, all the parts, screens, and left over to take off the motherboard. To disassemble the iPhone 7 model screen, it's a harder job than previous model, so you have to be careful and take as much time as you need. First time we have to disconnect the battery before we disassemble any cables. This we're recommending using this cable remover because it's plastic material. It helps you to prevent any damage to the flux easily. Okay, now we're about to take off the motherboard. This is a common fault, just like we mentioned. It's a IC that the codec IC that damaged, that it's unable to send a signal or be able to communicate between the CPU. It's a I2C AP2 codec main clock. Normally we call it a C12 because the pads on the layout is actually labeled C12. The first step, the first step would we'll have to take out this codec IC first, apply some flux, and using the heat gun at 340. The temperature is 340, and the airflow is 40. And by removing this IC, we use a special tweezer. It's made by titanium material. It's soft and flexible. It won't break your IC when taking it off. If you use a normal tweezer, the material it's harder, so it may damage the IC while you are taking away the IC from the motherboard. Okay, we just take off the codec IC, and then next step is, like usual, we have to clean the motherboard to exchange from higher temperature tin to lower temperature tin. And you may notice that there are missing pads already on the motherboard. It's alright because the pads lose easily under this IC, because we think that this phone was dropped before. And then we have to do a micro jump on the C12 pads. In the end of the video, that we will show you all the tools that we use during the video, including this wick. It's good wick. It's very useful. It's highly recommended when taking away all the tints from the motherboard. We try to take away most of the tin as possible. so when we are reballing back the IC, we were able to put back the IC evenly. Okay, first we'll clean the motherboard using the thinner water for the first time to take away the flux. We'll try to zoom in because we're about to do the micro jump on the C12 pad. This is actually similar to the iPhone 6 Plus, the common fault, the flickering screen, and the M1 pads that gets loose very easily. It's a similar task. I believe many of you have noticed. Even the Apple did a recall on the iPhone 6 problem. Okay, we use the blade to scrape up the surface of the motherboard and left over the circuit, and on the circuit we apply the tin, so it helps when we are doing the first end of the micro jump wire. And we will hold this wire using the tweezer on our left, and then simply just soldering on to the circuit. Okay. The point is to only tip the micro jumping wire instead of applying entirely onto the motherboard. You might have to try this for several times because the wire is very thin. We cut away the extra to let and then we are starting to make a lollipop to recover the pads that it's losing. Sorry, that is lost. Okay, this is a perfect demonstration of doing a lollipop. The length and the circle is perfect. Okay, we clean the motherboard for the second time with the thinner water. After we make this perfect lollipop micro jump, we would have to apply some tin onto the circle. It seems very easy when doing this under the video, or doing this in the video, but it actually requires many times of practices. And then when we're applying the tin on the circle, we have to hold the micro jump wire on the other end using the tweezer that we're going to show you. It's not the titanium tweezer, it's the other one, and we will also show you at the end of the video as well. Okay, we're just trying to make it perfect and solid. Every step that we do it will affect whether this customer will come back or not. We don't like to do the the same job twice, so we will have to try to make it perfect at once. Alright, this is a perfect example. You should do it like this. We call this a minimum requirement in our lab. This is at least you have to do in a Lollipod on iPhone7 or even on iPhone 6 Plus. Sometimes applying the thinner water while cleaning the motherboard, it helps us to get clear vision on the stuff or on the Lollipod that we do. Sometimes then we can make adjustment after that. And then on the upper part of the micro jump, we have to use the UV max to insulate this part. But we do not apply UV max on the Lollipod itself, because that's the part that we have to solder back when we have to use when soldering back the IC. And then we apply some heat to the UV max and it will get solid. Normally this process takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, now we're going to go over with reballing this Codec IC. First, we will take away all the high melting point tin on the IC using the JBC iron. We don't stay on the chip. We don't stay on the IC for too long, because it actually boils while we apply the JBC iron on the IC. And then we will have to clean away the flux, and we're about to do the reballing.
请问换电池可以现场换，大概要多久？好，谢谢。换电池要多？7
的话是1000。
好，谢谢。
I think we're missing the stencil, so let's take a while to find the right stencil. Alright, we found the stencil, and as you can see, we have to position each point first, and then clean the stencil before we actually apply the soldering paste. This soldering paste is 138. The degree is 138. And after that, we will have to use a cloth to take away the extra soldering paste, and then simply just use the heat gun 330 and Air Force 40 to make the reballing. And after that, we will do the refloat again to make each soldering board round and perfect. and we're about to put this codec IC back to the motherboard. A job like this, it should be perfect without any problem. Some flux as usual. The tweezer that we're using right now is the titanium tweezer. Every time you see this codec IC or the touch IC, it's the material is mainly made by glass, so you have to use this titanium tweezer to prevent you from breaking this IC. To put back this codec IC, the temperature is 330, airflow is 40. I think now we put back this IC perfectly, and we have to clean the motherboard. Try to make the motherboard as clean as possible. It also prevents you from getting this customer comeback. Okay, we're about to assemble back to the chassis to test. And we're assemble back all the cables. And remember, the battery is always the last to connect. There are two cables, antenna cables, that's very fragile, so use the tweezer to help you to position the point. Okay, we're now turning on this iPhone. Okay, so now we'll try to dial up the phone again.
救援电话，报警请按0，救援请按9。
And then try to do the record mode. Now it works. So the problem is solved.